What would happen to the Kohathites if they approached the holy things before they were covered? This is the question, and we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Numbers on Walking Through the Bible.
The glory of His cross.
If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Numbers chapter 4. We're going to be reading from verses 11 to 20. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Numbers chapter 4, beginning at verse 11. Over the golden altar they shall spread a blue cloth and cover it with a covering of badger skins, and they shall insert its poles. Then they shall take all the utensils of service with which they minister in the sanctuary, put them in a blue cloth, cover them with a covering of badger skins, and put them on a carrying beam. Also they shall take away the ashes from the altar and spread a purple cloth over it. Then they shall put on it all its implements, which they minister there, the fire pans, the forks, the shovels, the basins, and all the utensils of the altar. And they shall spread on it a covering of badger skins, and insert its poles. And when Aaron and his sons have finished covering the sanctuary, and all the furnishings of the sanctuary, when the camp is set to go, then the sons of Kohath shall come to carry them. But they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These are the things in the tabernacle of meeting, which the sons of Kohath are to carry. The appointed duty of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, is the oil for the light, the sweet incense, the daily grain offering, the anointing of oil, the oversight of all the tabernacle, of all that is in it, with the sanctuary and its furnishings. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Do not cut off the tribe of the families of the Kohathites from among the Levites, but do this in regards to them, that they may live and not die when they approach the most holy things. Aaron and his sons shall go in and appoint each of them to his service and his task, but they shall not go in to watch while the holy things are being covered, lest they die. What we have being described here is the duties of each of the families of the Levites concerning the transportation of the tabernacle. Each of the three main families, the Gershonites, the Kohathites, and the Merarites, had different duties. During this lesson and the last, we've been discussing the duties of the Kohathites, which concerned all of the holy things of the tabernacle. These things included the Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, the golden candlesticks, and both altars, the altar of incense, the golden altar, and the altar of burnt offering. Their job was to carry these things. However, it was the job of Aaron and his sons to prepare these things for transport. They would cover all of these items in a certain way with certain materials. For the discussion on the Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, and the golden candlestick, we refer you to our last lesson, links for which can be found on the end screens at the end of this lesson if you're watching on YouTube or at our website on www.eastendchurch.org under the Media/WTTB English Podcast tab. Moving on to verse 11. We find how the golden altar, the altar of incense, was to be prepared. It would be covered in blue cloth and then badger skins in order to protect it from the elements. Its poles would be inserted in order to enable it to be transported. Before transporting the altar of burnt offering, the ashes needed to be removed and purple cloth would cover it. This would visually distinguish it from the other altar. All of the utensils would be placed on it, and then a covering of badger skins would cover it too, after which the poles for transport would be inserted. Only after Aaron and his sons had completed all of this work would the sons of Kohath be called to bear the holy things on their shoulders. They weren't to touch any of the holy things lest they die. That warning in verse 15 will come into play about 400 years later when King David wishes to transport the Ark of the Covenant. When he first tried to do so, he neglected to use the sons of Kohath, instead using an ox cart. That was mistake one. He might have gotten away with it, except the oxen stumbled and the ark would have hit the ground unless it was steady, and so one of the men touched the ark and was immediately struck dead by God. God meant what he said. These things were holy, sanctified before God. They thus weren't to be touched by unholy, unsanctified people. As for the holy things needed for worship, Eleazar, the son of Aaron, was responsible for that. This included the oil for the golden candlestick, the sweet incense, the daily grain offering, and the anointing oil. It appears from this language that he was responsible for those things continually, but here in reference to transport. Although not said, seeing as how it would be mentioned concerning the other 2 houses of Levi, it appears that Eleazar was placed in authority over the sons of Kohath in terms of this work for the tabernacle. Verses 17 to 20 contains a special dispensation, an exemption from the Lord for the sons of Kohath. Nobody but the priests were allowed inside the tabernacle, nor would they approach the holy things of the tabernacle. Necessity demanded that when the holy things needed to be transported, that rule would have to be broken. So Aaron was to assure the Kohathites that they would not be struck dead for approaching and carrying the holy things. In order to ensure that the task be done properly, Aaron would appoint tasks to the sons of Kohath for this purpose. However, in all of this, the sons of Kohath were not to watch or approach the holy things while they were being covered, nor were they to touch them lest they die. Their job was only to carry them using the staves provided. God didn't expect the impossible. He gave exceptions to his rules when necessary. However, he expected his rules to be followed, and his exceptions only extended as far as needed. If the sons of Kohath would have approached the holy things on other occasions, they would have died. That's a lesson for us today. If God gives us rules, we need to follow them and not look for a way to get out of serving God the way he intended. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Numbers chapter 4, verses 21 to 28, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.